Welcome to episode 4 of the portrait series that I'm doing with B&H. So I'm very excited now to reveal the photographs that we took of Journey in the 4 different looks. And I have my longtime friend and collaborator here, Adriana, my makeup artist, who's really excited to see the photographs. And once we go through them and get them all excited about it, then I'm actually going to show you what it's like to design wall art and an album as if Journey was a normal client. So let's go through them. Are you ready to see the first click of the camera? All right, there it is. So we've got Nikon Z9 85mm lens. We've got 200 ISO f2 at 400 speed. Look how sharp the eye is there. Yeah, and it just fades away. Now don't worry, because the detail resolution is so crazy good. Mm-hmm. We're going to retouch it around the edges and all that kind of stuff. So things like any kind of blemishes or anything like that, any loose hairs or anything like that, we get rid of.
Wow. That's amazing.
So this one we've got on the sepia picture control. It looks absolutely exquisite. And that ladder being cropped in just keeps your eye contained in that photograph. I allowed some negative space on the right-hand side. And then that was, I think I just made you laugh and had a bit of fun there. And all right. Okay, one second. All right, let me show you this one. Are you ready for this one? Wow. Probably one of my favorite shots. Ready? Wow. This is one of those hero shots that I think that you don't really know what you're going to do until you do it. And this revealed itself with the material on your dress. And I love how it naturally vignettes around, and that negative space and that mystery where your other eye is hidden really, really works. So these ones were done with the ice light. So we basically started off with edge lights on the sides, and then a little sliver of light in the front, which looks really good. And then we had just allowed for a bit more room above. And then this being really, really dramatic. And then we did more of a glamorous look with the clamshell lighting top and bottom. And again, that sort of gave us a different look and feel. And then of course you've got different expressions there as well. Now, this is that next look that we went for. This was just full sunlight in a profile. Now, if you look at the difference between the daylight, the actual sunlight behind her, and then I'm like, you know what, I could live with that. But if I'm diffusing it, now I get detail everywhere. I've got the reflection of light there. And then we started off, again, just to show the difference between with and without that light being diffused. And then we added a little bit of movement. When I started this particular shot, let's say going somewhere here, it's perfectly sharp. There's no mystery. It's pretty. It's okay. But the minute I make the cape look like a waterfall, then obviously it's blurry. There's softness. But when you contrast softness to sharpness, the softness looks even softer still. Think of it like you're photographing a waterfall with a long exposure. The water is all dreamy and the rocks are perfectly still. The exact same thing here. So having her face completely still looks sharper because you're comparing it to softness and vice versa. And that's how it works. So overall, we've got all these different looks, different expressions. We've shown different sides to you. But now let's go put them in a program called Fundy Designer, and we're going to design an album really quickly and some wall art extremely quickly, straight from the camera. I've used so many software programs that will show you how to design an album, whether it's wall art or anything like that. I believe Fundy Designer is the simplest, and in arguably many ways it's the simplest and most sophisticated. It's almost like if Apple were to design a program to sell wall art and albums, this would be the one. I've also helped design parts of it. Like I've actually dealt with Andrew Funderburg, a good friend of mine who always listens to photographers and says, what do you need? What would you like? And how can we make this program better for you? It's as pretty much as close as you'll get to showing your clients the finished product as you can get. So let's go for it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go and design a Graphy Studio album. I'm going to click on a vertical album. Now you might say, why would I choose a vertical album? Because even though that a 9.5 by 13 vertical album is the same as a 9.5 by 13 horizontal album, geographically you got the same space, you fit less images on a vertical album. Because today wasn't really event driven, like a party or a wedding or anything like that, I will fit less photographs in there, which lends itself to a portrait rather than a horizontal album. So I'm going to click on a basic cover, click on next. We're going to just click on her name, create album, and now we have a spread in front of us. So now if you look at the bottom of this particular spread or the software here, you will see all the photographs. Okay, I can scroll through them. I've already pre-loaded them up, and what the program does is create a software or a proxy version of these images so I can move them around freely and quickly rather than having to slow down and wait for the raw file. So this is straight from the camera, no corrections, no nothing. I strongly implore you that you do not retouch images unless they're sold. That's just my personal opinion. And if you photographed well enough, what would I do in Lightroom to correct these images? Perhaps a little bit of white balance, perhaps a little bit of exposure, but they're 95, 99% already there because I took my time when I photographed the images. So straight away, I can see that I want that into a spread. So let me put in a more smiley one in there. Okay, I'm not really worried about the design yet because that comes afterwards. Okay, yeah, I love these ones. Again, I'm just going to pop them in there and then we see where we go with this afterwards. Don't forget, I photographed more than I normally would because I made her laugh. She cracked up a little bit. I took lots of sequences where I would normally be a little bit more measured. That one looks a little bit different again, although they have a similar cropping and similar feel. Okay, I love these photographs. So what I'm going to do is I am going to shift click quite a few of them. Now many of these shots were, let me see, I'm looking at this album. It's a vertical album. I feel like I could probably do one side on the left-hand side and probably 6 photographs of different expressions. So we have to look at almost like what is a low-hanging fruit, and at one point we just have to commit. I love the one of her just facing the camera, so I am going to bring that up right there. Beautiful. I might do that one with it. Okay, so now we have 2 hero shots here and here. I sort of naturally and inherently always shoot for story and always shoot with the possibility of selling in mind. If you change the look or a different lighting situation, a different color palette, a different mood, a sensibility, quantity, no matter what it would be, it's amazing at how much more opportunity it gives you to sell your work. Done is better than perfect. I think too many of us just will stop and look and stare and just keep on going, and I'm like, well, it's just not worth it. Like at some point you have to commit. What's to say that your decision today is better than the one previously? Okay, let's keep on going. We're going to minimize the thumbnails. We're going to go through each spread and show you how I would prepare this for a particular client. So we've got our cut zones. A cut zone basically means that when your album company shows you that red line, or depending on the software program that you're using, in this case I'm using Graphics Studio in conjunction with Fundy Designer, the red zone basically means that that's where they're going to chop, and the green zone is the safe area. So I'm going to start off with my hero shot and leave that there. That's going to be my opener. This one deserves to be on its own, not going to touch that. Here we have some different expressions. I click on layouts and I quickly get several that I can play with. So I pick those different expressions, I use a different mood, and then we're laughing and we're having fun. I think that looks really beautiful. You press G to see the different expressions. Love that. That looks really good. So we may get the best of the giggly ones and leave it on its own. Yes, this might be repetitive, so it's up to you to work out how different can we get. This one gives you a different look altogether because we've got negative space behind, as you saw before the negative space was in front. Mystery, harmony. Now this one, what I was thinking is potentially 1 photograph on the left and then 6 on the right. Okay, so I want something like this. I'm going to replace this here. When I have a full bleed photograph like this, I tend to go in a little bit closer for the shots on the right hand side. So now really it's just a matter of where those shots will present themselves and what would look good. Now because she's peering off, that lends itself to going up there. She's looking down there, so I'm looking down that way. These are the same. I need something else to go there, so I'm going to go back. Maybe tentative. Maybe that one might be the way to go. Yeah, she's trying to hold back the laughter. Looking down, sort of looking off, looking away. Great, love that. So that's it, we've done that. Perfect. Okay, this one I'm excited about because I was picturing a bunch of squares in a similar kind of way. I want 2 on the left and 2 on the right. Perfect. I put the guides in. I make this a little bit bigger. Yes, I photographed these originally in square, but they easily lend themselves to horizontal shot. I love the way she's sort of looking down, she's looking across, she's biased to that way, and that works out really well. We take the guides away, that's a really pretty spread. Done. Next. This one, it's a different mood. It's almost got an Audrey Hepburn kind of feel to it, sort of a homage to one of famous photographs of her. Using that long turtleneck, and I don't mind the spine going down in the face because it's seamless. Like I said, my rule is that we don't go down an eyeball. I love these ones, and either I keep it like that or I can actually flip this, and that gives me a really cool result. So I get right to the edge, I click off name, and then I want to make sure that this blends into itself. If I press guide, then that gives me a really cool layout. Now, what I could do is click fan out and do it that way. The more I look at that, I think that actually looks even better. Remember, you have to commit to the idea. If you keep on going, it's going to be fruitless. It's going to be too much. This one deserves to be on its own. It looks a little bit dark, actually. Probably I can improve the exposure there after the fact. I don't mind that it's in the middle of the nose. I'm totally fine with that. Great, lock that in. This is obviously a better exposure. It's a little bit moodier. I want to get in the middle of the face. I'm going to decide later on whether I do that or not. I am going to enlarge this, bring it across, allow for some negative space. This time I want to bring it in because the cropping is so critical on the top. I need to bring this down. Okay. It is starting to get repetitive, but again, I feel like I can easily flip this image. I can enlarge it. And I can make this look extremely different with a simple crop. Love that. Great. Commit. Let's move on. This, I feel like I want some negative space. We're almost there. Now, I love these ones, but they deserve to be a lot larger. Let me explain. If we bring this all the way out and I enlarge this dramatically, this program might not let me go to the extent that I want. Now you look at that and you see how dramatic that is compared to the way I originally shot it. And then I am going to do this, fit it, and then enlarge it, and then flip it. And that looks badassery. Look at that. Love that. This is, guys, what I live for. I mean, this is it. Like, you know, it would be fun if we can get that line going across. Now, can I do that? Will that work? I have no idea. Why we're whispering, I don't know. Even the half face, I wonder if that looks good or not. I like that. This one deserves to be enlarged. I'll bring it slightly off the page. I know I'm sort of losing a little bit of that blur, but this time I actually want her on one side of the book, and that emphasizes that movement as well. This is our book. So now what we're going to do is we've designed an album, and before we pitch this to the client, we're going to show our clients what their photographs would look like as wall art. Now, for the sake of time, I'll show you one example, but you can do this over and over and over again. The design of the album has given us some ideas already. I'm basically showing houses and settings in the style of what I want my demographic to be and the kind of homes that I believe they have. And even if it's not, I'm sort of faking it till I make it, so to speak. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to choose from particular layouts in my collection. So I'm going to click on group 1. I've designed all of these. They're pretty common designs, but I've designed them to my specifications. So what you're seeing here is a wall art collection that is in my price list. So if you click on the photograph, you'll see exactly what that size is, 42 by 19.5 and 19.5 by 19.5. Now, what I do is I go back to the photographs, and if you remember, there is so many shots that I did that would work for this particular scene. So let me have a look here. If I look back at this, it depends if I'm going for a subtle look or a feel. And let me see here. Again, this I'm going to sort of take my time a little bit with, because again, there's many shots that I could go for here. I think I might do this one here. And then there, she's looking sort of down. So as you can see, if you look at all of these photographs, if you put them into design, this is exactly what it would look like to scale in this particular client's home. Now, it could be endless. I can do a soft expressions. I could do serious expressions. I could do so many. That's the cool thing, is if you photograph to sell, you will sell. That's just purely a fact. And this is what I would typically do for a client. I would walk through different ways of seeing. Again, a softer mood. It could be something a bit more dramatic. Is this a talking piece for your home? Is this an entry image? Is this something for the bedroom? Is this for your partner? And then we walk around a virtual home and show our clients exactly what everything would look like. So in this case, just gives you a couple of examples of how cool that could look. Of course, if we wanted to, we could change that to black and white and again, give our clients an idea of what that would look like in different situations. So it's been great sharing some ideas with you guys. We've just finished preparing all the files to show our client, giving you a different perspective on post-production. It's been a great day. We've shared so many ideas, all the way from our 5 steps to a great photograph. Also, we showed you all the camera gear and the techniques that we used. And then finally, of course, the big part of today was getting that emotion out and photographing Journey in all those different looks and feels. And we didn't overuse our gear. We took our time. It was fantastic. Thank you to B&H for being incredible partners over the years. Thank you to Nikon for supporting this as well. If you like what you've learned, you want to learn more from me, go to my channel, Jerry Ghionis Photography, and click subscribe, and we'll share more ideas together. If you like the idea of actually learning more from me in different ways, go to jerryghionis.com, and certainly follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Jerry Ghionis. And please give us a like, give us a share, give us a comment, give us a follow, and perhaps what you ask for is what we'll do next time. Repetition, experience, and practice will always be your best teacher. And you've got 2 choices. No matter who you learn from, you can be intimidated or you be inspired. But remember, you don't have to be the best. You simply have to be better than last week. We'll see you next time.